Here's another example that may or may not help your children. But what I want to emphasize here is that this checklist, which lists out assignments and includes the actual grade over here on the right, has a lot more to it. These are things that, as we become skilled with self-regulation, become pretty automatic. We might not need to write them down. We might be able to do some of this in our head. But as we get started, these are things we should consider. How difficult do we think this assignment is going to be? Are we going to need help? That's part of the time management. And that would help me decide whether I need to work on it during a study skills or resource class, or whether I should work on it in class by myself or at home. And then breaking it into smaller pieces. That is always a really good strategy if we're feeling overwhelmed by anything. It's one that I use when doing laundry. You know, I love the idea of a task list or to-do list, but sometimes I'm just feeling pretty overwhelmed. And so I want to be able to cross things off the list quickly. And so sometimes instead of just write do laundry, which to me means washer, dryer, fold, put away, I will break up and write those 4 different steps. And that gives me 4 opportunities to be able to chunk the work and feel like I am making progress. So we can do the same thing here with our children when it comes to assignments. Help them chunk the work. Now, this next question, estimated time to complete. This item is very important for time management. In order to become independent and manage our time, we need to block it out effectively. A lot of us do that with calendars, whether they be physical or virtual. We can block out our time and identify what we can accomplish during that time. Students need this as well. They need to be able to block out their time effectively, and to do so, they have to be able to estimate the amount of time work takes. But to get there, their estimations might not be perfect in the beginning. So we have some actual pieces, actual time to complete, actual difficulty. So these comparisons help our children get better and better at their estimations, because they're able to compare that to actually how much time it took or how hard it really was. And then they can rate their effort as well and identify their anticipated grade. This is a really important piece for independence, again, that we should not need someone else to tell us whether we did well. We should be able to judge our own work, whatever that work may be, including our performance on tests, and identify how well we feel we did. And that should correlate pretty closely to that actual grade. Now, down here at the bottom, we see a few more things that can go into this plan. We see adjusting, again, using those if-then statements. So if you want to know more about them, watch the session before this one. And then over in reflecting. Now, those first 2 reflection questions, what's working well, what should I change? If we were only monitoring that actual grade, assignment completion and grade you got, we won't be able to answer those 2 questions. We need this other information to know what is actually working well and what should be changed. We might need to reflect on even more details than what you see in this plan. Time of day for doing the assignment, whether you worked independently or in a group, did you get help? Breaking the assignment down into smaller steps. What was it that worked to help you be successful here?